Burgers are a staple in the United States, and you can find them every single state that we have. But how does each state treat them differently? That's what we're here to find out today. We're kicking off a series on regional burgers across the United States. Today, we're going to be doing the Northeast, and trust me, this one is going to surprise you.
Now, no one knows where the original cheeseburger came from, and it's a debate that people are still fighting about today. From what I've researched, it looks like it could have come from Pasadena, California, or even in Louisville, Kentucky. Wherever it comes from is not a huge deal to me because I'm more interested in the way that the different regions have made it their own. To start, we're going to be setting a baseline with a traditional burger, and that means that we're going to need three things: cheese, burgers, and buns. For our beef, we're going to be grinding our own meat, and the cut that you choose is very important. You want to make sure that you have something that has some lean meat along with some fat content because, as you know, fat equals flavor, and we want these burgers to be absolutely delicious. The cut that I'm using today is a brisket, and normally whenever you cook a brisket, they need to cook low and slow because of all the intramuscular fat and connective tissue. But what happens whenever you grind them is you're breaking down and you're mixing them very well as you grind the meats. And this is why we're able to make them into a delicious burger. Now for the size of the patties in the first two, we're going to make them about a regular size, a little bit less than a tennis ball. And then for the other one, we're going to make it a little bit bigger than a golf ball. And you can mold them with your hand or even use a burger press, whatever you like to use. And then we're going to set them in the fridge while we prepare our buns. First, we're going to add all of our wet and dry ingredients into a bowl, and we're going to mix it until we have a cohesive dough, which then we're going to flop it out on the table and continue to knead by hand for 10 minutes until the dough is nice and smooth. You can use a stand mixer, but we need to get some forearm strength, so we're kneading by hand today. Now, this isn't just about combining the ingredients. We're also developing gluten, and gluten is what gives bread the structure and the chew. And if we undermix, the buns might come out too crumbly or even flat. We want a nice elastic dough that can raise and trap those air bubbles to give us a light and fluffy bun. Once the dough is smooth and elastic, we're going to transfer into a lightly oiled bowl and cover it with a damp towel or plastic wrap, and we're going to let it proof until it's doubled in size. Now this usually takes about 1 to 1.5 hours depending on where you live. During this time, the yeast is feeding on the sugars in the dough and producing carbon dioxide, which causes the dough to rise and become very airy. This is crucial for some soft and tender buns. After the dough is doubled in size, we punch it down gently to release some of the gas and start shaping it. Divide the dough into equal portions depending on how big you want your buns. For these buns, same size about our patties, a little bit bigger than a tennis ball for the first two, and then for the last one we want it to be a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Gently shape each one into a smooth ball and place them on a lined or greased baking tray spaced apart so they have room to rise. Now we let them rise again for about 30 to 45 minutes, and this second rise lets the dough relax and puff up one last time before baking so the buns don't come out all dense. Right before baking, we'll brush on the tops with some egg wash, just a beaten egg with a splash of water or milk. This gives the buns that beautiful golden color and a shiny finish. It also helps the crust develop a little bit more texture. Then we bake 375 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes or until the buns are a deep golden brown and sound slightly hollow whenever you tap them on the bottom. Once they're done, we'll let them cool on a wire rack. For the classic burger, we want that irresistible deeply browned crust. So heat management is everything. Start by putting a heavy skillet, cast iron is ideal, over a medium high to high heat, and give it a full couple of minutes to preheat. You should see a wisp of heat shimmer before any meat touches the metal. And then we're going to add just a thin film of high smoke point oil. I'm using some avocado oil here, but you can use whatever you have. Once the patty goes down, don't touch it for about 3 minutes. That stillness is how the surface moisture evaporates and the temperatures exceed 300 degrees Fahrenheit, triggering the Maillard reaction that builds hundreds of new flavor compounds and that picture perfect brown crust. When the edges look caramel colored and the burger releases easy from the skillet, give it a confident flip, and there's no need to smash it after the first 30 seconds or you're just going to squeeze out all the juices. Now this burger is a little bit thick and I don't want to burn the crust, so in our oven that's already heated, we're going to go ahead and toss this inside with the pan until the inside reaches an internal temperature of at least 145 degrees. Once it reaches temperature, we're going to add 2 slices of American cheese. The residual heat should melt, however, if you're very impatient like me, you can always use a blowtorch. That melted cheese should be hugging the meat, dripping ever so slightly over the sides. And this is the heart of a burger. Now crown it with the top bun like it's the king or queen that they deserve to be. We're not adding lettuce, tomatoes, or sauces for this one. Just pure beef, cheese, and bread. It's minimalistic by design, showcasing the craftsmanship behind each ingredient. Now that our burger is complete, Let's hand it off to our judges and see what they think. Will this simple yet bold approach win them over? I guess we'll have to find out.
The meat is nice and juicy, and the bun is soft. And
oh, the bun is delicious.
I think I'll rate it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, like an 8 or 9.
I'll go a 7. Well, no, okay.
It's got a good flavor. The mixture of the ground beef kind of like crumbled, which you can kind of see whenever I cut into it. So I'm not sure if it's because there's too much fat or too much lean, but other than that, the bread's nice and soft. Got a crunchy bottom. Cheese is good, melted nice. This is a good baseline for our burgers. We got 2 more to go. I'd give this one, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
The next burger comes from Connecticut, and it doesn't even touch a grill. They go into the steamer. I don't know how this is going to be since it isn't going to have that crust. But in Meridian, Connecticut, they've been steaming their burgers since the 1920s. A little place called Jack's Lunch started steaming their burgers in cheese and metal trays, and the idea was to make a healthier burger without frying it. But here's the twist. Instead of losing flavor, they accidentally unlocked this super juicy melt-in-your-mouth experience. The method stuck around, and now places like Ted's Restaurant have been perfecting it for nearly a century. It's definitely a local legend. So to get started, we're going to need a makeshift burger steamer. Nothing too fancy. We're just going to take our pot and put it on our stove here, and we're going to put a strainer that we use normally for vegetables or pasta and flip it upside down to act as a rack for our beef. Then we're going to fill it up with about 2 inches of water, just enough so the water doesn't touch the beef. Bring it to a rolling boil and place your beef patty inside and cover with a lid. Now while that's cooking, let's not forget the cheese, because what's a burger without a cheese, right? Grab a small ramekin and add a generous portion of cheddar cheese, and we're going to place the ramekin right next to the burger in the steamer, all snug and cozy next to his best friend. That steam is going to work its magic on the cheese too, melting it down into a smooth and gooey goodness. Now just let everything steam away until that burger reaches an internal temperature of 145 degrees, and depending on the thickness of your patty, this could take anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes, so please be patient. And remember, don't peek too often because you don't want to let that precious steam escape. Once that burger's up to temp and the cheese is fully melted, it's time to assemble. Start with the bottom bun, then gently place our juicy steamed burger right on top, spooning on that rich melted cheddar from the ramekin, and finish it off with the top bun. And there you have it, a steamed burger. I know it's a little weird, but honestly, it doesn't look half bad. The texture is super tender, and the cheese is next level creamy. And the whole thing that has an old school diner vibe to it. But hey, that's just my joke. Let's bring in the judges and see what they think.
All right, here we go. Number 2.
It's actually good.
It's good, but not as good as the other one. And it's not staying together. Although the other ones didn't have a firm texture that kept it together, this one's even less staying together, falling
soft
apart.
and tender, so.
Soft, tender, and it falls apart, but it's good. And of course, the bun is always delicious.
The meat is nice and soft. I was iffy about it.
I guess still like a 7, 8.
I give it a 7.
And I'll give it a 6, just because of the texture isn't holding together well.
So it's not bad, but you can definitely tell that the crust is missing. You know, it's got a lot of that lean meat, the fattiness, and it's still a little bit juicy, but it's missing that crust. So Connecticut, I would say just throw it in a pan or on a grill. This steam thing is not it. So I'd give this one, I'll give it a 6 out of a 10 because I did like the other one better.
All right, now we're heading to Jersey, and they're not playing around. Enter the Jersey Slider. Small, smashed, greasy, and unapologetically delicious. Sliders like this come out of spots like White Manna and White Manna, both born out of 1939's World Fair and both claiming to be original. It's a Jersey rivalry, so I'm staying out of it. So the first thing we're gonna do is prep our onion, and we're gonna take our whole onion and cut it in half, and we're gonna thinly slice these because we're gonna be grilling our burgers on top of them. Get your griddle nice and hot and throw down a small pinch of onions. Then immediately we're going to place our ball of beef on top and smash it down like you would if you're making a smash burger. We're going to let it cook for about a minute, and the onions will steam up into the beef from below, infusing everything with that sweet, savory goodness. Go ahead and flip it with the onions and all, and then we're going to slap another slice of American cheese on top. And just like the 2 burgers we had before, we're going to build it by placing down our bottom bun, ever so gently adding our burger on top, and topping it off with the top bun. Now this one is messy, and it's greasy, and it's loud, just like Polly from Jersey Shores. Now this one definitely looks delicious, but it's not up to me to decide. So let's give it off to the judges.
Hey, here we go. Final one. Ah. So this is called a, what is it called?
New Jersey style.
I like this one the most.
Mm-hmm.
The onion gives it a whole different flavor.
Tastes like a McDonald's cheeseburger with the onions.
Yeah, this texture is staying together.
And it held together. I think when you grilled it, that'd be about an 8.
I give it a 9.
An 8.
I'm nice, so I give them a 9.
That one, I think, had like the best texture of all of them because it was able to get a lot crispier whenever we flatten it with the smasher. And also the onions give it an extra bit of flavor. They caramelized, but they kind of just like melted into the burger. And I think this one would be an 8 out of 10. So it's right above the baseline. Jersey City's number 1, baseline burger's number 2, Connecticut burger is number 3, just because that Connecticut burger really needed that sear. I don't know why they do it like that. I don't know if they just don't have any grill or don't have propane or charcoal, whatever the reason is, but they definitely need to get a sear on that burger. All right, guys, well, this has been the first episode of our regional burger tour. Let me know in the comments down below what you think the best burger is, or if you're from Connecticut, tell us why that you steam the burgers. Stick around for next week because I have a surprising burger for you, and this one involves donuts. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay saucy.